This is Dr. Mariah White, host of Your Life Matters. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
It's Thursday Friday on Public House Media. We're still in Dubai. I feel like I have different robes in different area codes, and I'm kind of wondering if we should ask Ludacris if I could remix this song, because it seems like it could be a thing. Anyway, I got a laser facial last night at Skin Laundry, and today is my recovery day, even though I'm going scuba diving. And another fun new thing is that we're trying a new, Arabic brand of sparkling water, so we'll see how this goes. It kind of feels like the Trader Joe's brand of sparkling water, except it doesn't come completely undone when you open it. Now, with that being said, oh, look how gorgeous the marina is. I love it so much. Me and my mermaid here today. I posted 2 articles recently about, more reasons why a certain faction of the population just doesn't seem to care about sex crimes against children. So let's talk about those, shall we? And they both seem to be pretty poignant, I think. I think. If I can get my hair out of my earbuds, that would be spectacular. Any hoozles. That's better. I'm always having such a hard time. Like, my hair always gets stuck in behind the earbud, and I feel like it rattles around in there, which you can't people. You find people can't hear it, but I can hear it, and I'm always worried this earbud situation is gonna fall out and it's gonna ruin my mic. So it's like a never-ending battle. Anyway, 2 different articles that I posted that we're gonna go over right now. I have a feeling that we should start with the repealing of some sex offender registry laws in Michigan that came down from a federal level. They personally concern me for a few reasons. But anyway, so this is from DetroitNews.com. It says Whitmer signs bill with long-awaited changes to sex offender law. From the Detroit News. There it is. Governor Whitmer, the troll beneath the bridge, has just been, such a busy lady with her never-ending writing of edicts. But basically, there's 3 things that are going to change around sex offender laws in Michigan, and supposedly they come from the federal level. The first 2 have to do with the registration requirements for sex offenders. So if they were ever in prison or they get out of prison, there's a sex offender registry. When you're a convicted sex offender, and then you have to tell, before this happened, you would have to immediately go to the police in person and say, this is where I'm living, this is my contact information, and if you didn't do this, then it was breaking the law. Well, they've decided that because they claim that it's unenforceable, that they're going to do away with the immediate in-person sex offender registry, and that it's supposedly going to be replaced with some sort of online system that is easier for law enforcement locally. However, local law enforcement hasn't exactly commented on if that's going to be easier or not. However, after all of the riots and mayhem and destruction and fires over the summer, and if you try to go to a police station since then, you will know that it's not exactly the easiest thing to get in a police station these days. I was filing a report about somebody, and it took me 2 appointments to get in to talk to them. And they had to open like the gate that covered the front door for me. So I have a feeling a lot of this has to do with the fact that it's physically hard to get into police stations right now by design. So, okay, fine. If local law enforcement wants a different way of doing things, they want an online system, okay, fine. The one that concerns me, which is kind of the main point of this situation, is that they're going to repeal the law that says sex offenders can't live within 1,000 feet of schools. So they say that this isn't enforceable. Not sure how that works. But basically, there's been a couple documentaries made about certain kind of like trailer RV parks that are like little islands basically for people that were convicted of crimes and then come out of jail that they end up living in, and they're kind of like an island, because if they leave that island, then they're then crossing into like a school zone, like a predator-free school zone. So they're not really allowed to live anywhere else, but then they're also within a school zone. So supposedly, according to the article and the lawmakers that have decided to change these laws, that it's unenforceable and it's not really fair to the people who are convicted sex offenders, that they have to stay more than 1,000 feet from school. Now, I think we can all agree that like if you get like a ticket for like peeing on the side of a 7-Eleven or something, and you get required to be like a registered sex offender, that maybe school zones shouldn't apply to you. But if you've committed a sex crime against a child, which many people have, and you're convicted of it, and then you go to jail, and then you come out of jail, it just doesn't seem like you should be allowed to live within 1,000 feet of a school. I mean, I think that's a pretty fair law, whether it's enforceable or not, and I don't see how it would be unenforceable, because we've gotten so good these days about knocking on doors and dragging people out of their houses that it just should be. I feel like it's well practiced at this point. It shouldn't be that hard. So that's the really concerning thing. I mean, clearly the state of Michigan isn't super concerned about the kids in these schools being in a place where they would be accessible by predators, but who knows? We'll see how this works out. So if you're in a school zone, maybe take advantage of like Megan's Law, or there's, depending on the state, like Nevada, for example, follows Megan's Law, and you can see registered sex offenders and if they're living in proximity to your house or proximity to a school. Oh my goodness! Staying on this side of the marina has proven to be a bit loud, but the call to prayer hasn't happened yet, so that's not. That's definitely the loudest thing down here, but it's fine. It kind of sounds like an auction, a little bit, kind of. So I'm not convinced that these things are unenforceable, because they seem to have such an easy time enforcing so many things. There's only, like 1,000 feet of a school is like a pretty small bubble, so if you can't police 1,000 feet from a school, what can you police? But what do I know? Now, on to the more infuriating story. So, as we know, we're living in the height of cancel culture. We all know this, and I don't necessarily mind. I don't mind cancellations when that person has just done something that you can't necessarily, like you can't trust anymore. And I've always thought of that as like in a working with sort of way. Like, for example, like the sex offenders that get hired and rehired by like Disney and Nickelodeon, they're not canceled. So I guess it's a bad example. But it's one thing when we're living under this cancel culture and like somebody did something unforgivable or they have done something that would exclude them for further participating in that activity or field, occupation, etc. I did an episode a while back with a lady who wrote a book on sexual predators and like the members of like church members, like the clergy sort of way. And her and I had this long discussion about how the church would just keep letting these people back into positions of power, and particularly positions of power where minors were involved, and how that was wrong. And like, yeah, you can forgive people or whatever, but that doesn't mean you just keep letting them have access to the same people that they were abusing. However, that doesn't mean that they just end up being banished, which is really interesting considering that the reason why some of these sex crime laws got changed or repealed is that constitutionally there was an argument made that said that they were akin to like banishment laws, and in the United States it's unconstitutional because that's considered cruel and unusual punishment. So either we're into cancellation and banishment or we're not. Like, we kind of have to pick a side of the game. So this other article came out on the New York Post from yesterday, and it says Twitter refused to remove child porn because it didn't violate policies lawsuit. Surprise, surprise. Oh, Jack lets child porn accounts keep going while other people are getting canceled. Color me shocked. Anyway, so this is an article about this kid and his family filed a lawsuit. Now, let's preface this by saying that this child involved in this lawsuit has a family that actually cares about this situation. Most of the time, child trafficking victims come from people that don't have a support system. That's why there's so much child abuse and child trafficking within the foster care system, is because they're ripe for the picking because they know that nobody's ever going to help them or listen or care. So the one unique thing about this situation and why it did make it to lawsuit and why it, the story made it to print, is because he actually has a family that cares, and not everybody has that. So let's I'm not going to read you the whole article. We'll just talk about basically the sequence of events. So, this kid was 13 at the time, and via a catfish situation, there was a child trafficker posing as a 16-year-old girl, and they started exchanging nudes, sexting, all of that thing that people do nowadays, including kids, and unbeknownst to him, that wasn't in fact a 16-year-old girl. That was a fully grown adult who was into child porn. So that's not uncommon. There's over 500 million downloads of child porn per day. So okay, fine. The new truth is she's not 16, and it's probably not even a she. It's probably just some sweaty rando who's into child porn. So the catfishing scam says, okay, well, if you don't provide me with more graphic sexual content, if you don't provide me with more nudes, and if you don't involve another minor and make them make graphic sexual content and send me their nudes, then I'm going to send the nudes that you've already sent me to your parents, your coaches, and your pastor. See how that member of clergy comes in again? Weird, right? To which that kid is like, okay, I guess I have to do this, does that, and then blocks that person anywhere and everywhere. Well, these images, videos, etc. end up on Twitter. And they get thousands and thousands of views, and this kid and his mom file a lawsuit, but not before they go to Twitter and say, hey, take these down. I was a minor when this happened. This is not consensual. On top of being blackmailed, like, I was a minor, like, this is child porn, this is illegal, you can't have this up. And they sent a statement back saying that it does not violate It does not violate their terms of service, which is just crazy. So after 167,000 views and over 2,200 retweets, the tweet says, "Thanks for reaching out. We reviewed the content and didn't find a violation of our policies, so no action will be taken this time." The response reads, according to the lawsuit, "If you believe there's a potential copyright infringement, copyright protected by Twitter, child porn doesn't go against their standards." Shocking, right? "If the content is hosted on a third-party website, you'll need to contact that website support team to report it. Your safety is the most important thing, and if you believe you are in danger, we encourage you to contact your local authorities." In response, they sent over their police reports from their local authorities. And then, after the lawsuit happened, and obviously they were found in the wrong to be distributing child porn, because that is illegal. Not that anybody cares that it's illegal, but it is in fact illegal. Then Twitter backtracked and said, "Our dedicated teams work to stay ahead of bad faith actors and to ensure that we're doing everything we can to remove content, facilitate investigations, and protect minors from harm both on and offline." But they only arrived at this conclusion after they were in a big, giant lawsuit that was perpetuated by these parents of the people that ended up in a child porn, sex trafficking, blackmail sort of a situation that Twitter was an accessory to. So that is enough news today on how a certain faction of our population just doesn't seem to be bothered by sex crimes against kids, or anyone, but especially children. So I will see you all next week with another episode of No Filter Friday, and possibly another flavor of sparkling water, we'll see. Check out other shows on Public House Media, like Choose to Rise, and definitely visit Dubai because it is amazing. And I will see you all next week. Bye-bye.